Hello everyone, this is Dr. Ken Davis, and this is the Attitude to Wellness series. This is part 4, and I'm coming to you from beautiful Santa Fe, New Mexico in this video. And today we're going to discuss in the 4th part the ability now to use a system of testing that we discussed and show you and demonstrate on how now you can begin to not only trust that voice. Remember, we talked about over these last 3 series that how do we know something, or how can we learn to trust ourselves in making the proper decision, for, certainly as it relates to our health and our well-being, and know that we're making the right choice. So again, in our health, in the first 2 videos, we talked about if we're sick and we're moving towards wellness, what are the modalities that we have available? We talked about the triune model of health, remember, the body, mind, and spirit. And we also talked about that if we do have a problem, or we're not feeling well, or we have an illness, how do we know which of those modalities would be the right modality to assist us in our journey of healing? So for one person, it may be herbs. For another person, it could be homeopathy. For another person, it could be chiropractic manipulation. For another, acupuncture. For another, prayer. For another, yoga. But what helps one person, again, does not necessarily benefit another person. We also have to understand that everything that exists on a vibratory level or a vibrational level. So you need to also think about the things that we put on, what we take into our body, what we eat, what we feel as an energy. Because if we break our body down, it's primarily into its molecular structure, it's primarily energy and information. So begin to think from a vibratory level, from an energetic level. We also talked about in the Attitude to Wellness series of how to begin to trust the voice within your heart. We all have those times in our life where we say, you know what, that doesn't feel right. Or, you know what, that feels right. But no, I'm not going to do that. Or we have those stings of consciousness, those awareness points where all of a sudden, boom, we wake up and, you know what, that's the right move. Now, we understand that it's a little bit more difficult to follow along your heart when there's life decisions that we're trying to make, whether it's our health or a move or a relationship or whatever. So in the process, as we continue on in this journey together through the awareness, the Attitude to Health series, begin to trust that voice within your heart. Not to be up in that brain all the time, over here on that left side, that's trying to get you to always figure out, incessantly thinking and worrying, well, what do I do, what do I do, what do I do? Now, in the last number 3 series, we talked a little bit, I told you about the work of David Hawkins, who has written a number of books, his first one being Power versus Force. And in that book, he, over a 20-year paradigm of testing, he was able to come up with a map of consciousness to use a particular kinesiological testing mode to determine truth or falsity. I'm not going to get into that here, but I am going to demonstrate and explain to you a little bit about this mode of testing that you at home can begin to practice and master in your ability to trust the voice, but use an adjunctive technique and a procedure that you can utilize that we've been using for many, many years. I also want to preface that we have been doing this mode of testing long before David Hawkins and other individuals out there have been doing so, or using this mode of testing. We call this type of testing mind language or arm mentor testing. Now, the thing is, when you use another individual as a medium to obtain information, there's certain fallacies and understandings that you have to come to. Number one, people who think many out there today that think that the ability to use an arm test like this and to get strength or weakness is what's called kinesiology. And it is not really kinesiology testing at all. And as an applied kinesiologist, that mode of testing is really not accepted. So in our discussion of the ability to use a muscle test or to use what we call arm mentor testing, you have to be or utilize another party who, first of all, has no judgment and is neutral in their ability to be able to just allow that test to reveal what's true and what isn't true. So in a second, I'll bring Lisa in and we will begin to show you how this works.